So today we're gonna be talking about the Rocky Balboa franchise. Oh, I'm sorry, can't do that again. Dummy cards. Hey, look, I know I have what they call a relaxed brain, but I ain't punching nothing like that. That's just the way I talk, All right, let me get serious. Me and my boy Mike from the Z Review just covered all 6 Rocky movies. It's been a blast reviewing these movies with you, man. Thank you for sharing these with me because I have a hard time getting people to watch these movies, especially for the first time. Like most people have seen Rocky, so it's good to find somebody that hasn't seen any of them. And I thought it would be good to cap it off by a Rocky Q&A or best and worst. Let's just get right down to it. The first question I want to ask you is, rank your Rocky movies from worst to best.
Starting right out the gate with the toughest question. For me, I would say the worst one is Rocky 5, and I think we can both agree on that one. It just completely takes away from the franchise, and even Sylvester Stallone despises that movie and doesn't acknowledge it. Second worst, Rocky Balboa, just didn't capture the full magic as the original 4 of them did. The third worst, Rocky 4, just simply because the believability factor is just not there. It just doesn't exist. The third best one is Rocky 3. For me, fantastic entry into the franchise and definitely the one that utilizes the soundtrack the best. But for me, my 2 personal favourites, the number 2 is the first original Rocky, just with the raw grittiness style. And number 2 is my personal favourite because it capitalises more on the Rocky and Apollo Creed fight. And for me, it's just that raw gritty style is executed perfectly. So yeah, Rocky 2 is my favourite Rocky out of the franchise.
Okay, you know what? We agree almost all the way. Only difference on my personal list, I would swap 3 and 2. Yeah, I would put 3 number 1, and then Rocky 1 is number 2, and then Rocky 2 is number 3. And of course, yeah, I think nobody would deny 5 is the worst one. If anybody says 5 is the best one, fuck you, you're trolling. All right, Mike, favorite side character?
Damn, Rashad, you have a tough question. So, second one is the best Rocky side character. I would say Talia Shire for me, because without Rocky, you've got no Adrian, and without Adrian, you've got no Rocky. I felt like their relationship in this was absolutely fantastic. And just the fact that Talia Shire's character starts off with this really shy, not really bubbly, hasn't got any confidence person, to this really shining, confident woman by the time we get to Rocky 5, and she is the best performance she ever gives in that movie. And for me, throughout the whole thing, she's been a loving, supporting wife to Rocky and his ambitions and his goals. And in reality, that is what you want from a life partner. So for me, Talia Shire definitely steals the best Rocky side character.
You know what? At first, I was going back and forth between Adrian and Paulie, because Paulie, as racist and slimy as he is, Paulie has a big heart and he loves Rocky. He just has a hard time showing his love, professing his love to the people that he loves. You know what I mean? So I was gonna say Paulie, but yeah, Adrian is the rock of the franchise. Adrian is the one that holds Rocky together and brings the best out of Rocky, and she is definitely the backbone of this franchise, even in the movie that she wasn't in. So yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you. I think Adrian is the best Rocky side character. Favorite Rocky opponent? Who you got?
I would have to go Clubber Lang if I was to choose one, simply because he is, if you think about it, the only character that actually KOs Rocky in the movie. I know some of us beat him by like a point-based decision, but for me, he is the one who actually knocks him out pretty early on in the film and actually has like a real mean demeanour to him and actually can back up pretty much what he says. So for me, Clubber Lang and Mr. T's performance in Rocky 3, absolutely phenomenal.
My man, Mike, we here. I say about 95% of people say Drago. And yes, Drago is a big, menacing dude, man. He's dangerous, he's deadly. But he had no character. He was like Frankenstein's monster. Drago didn't show any character until Creed 2. That's when we finally get to see Drago, as a human being. But in Rocky 4, he was a machine. As a matter of fact, when I was a kid, I was told that he was a robot. And at 5 years old, I believed that he was a robot. I thought he was a Terminator. So yeah, Clubber Lang is the best villain. Clubber Lang talked the most shit. He got inside Rocky's head. He had him shook. And he tried Adrian. Ain't nobody ever tried Adrian. Mr. T, Clubber Lang was like, hey woman, listen here. Since your man ain't got no heart, maybe you like to see a real man. I bet you stay up late every night dreaming you had a real man, don't you? I tell you what, bring your pretty little self over to my apartment tonight, and I'll show you a real man. You want it, you got it. Worst Rocky opponent.
So the worst Rocky opponent for me might be a bit of a controversial one, but I would have to go with Antonio Tarver, who plays Dixon in Rocky Balboa, simply because the fight scene he gives is great, don't get me wrong. But I personally like Tommy Gunn a little bit more because of that kind of raw, edgy style we get in like the streets with him v Rocky. And for me, I felt like just the pure size and the mass of that character was more believable when it came to a Rocky opponent. So for me, Dixon in Rocky Balboa is the worst Rocky opponent.
Yeah, Mason the Lion Dixon absolutely sucked as a character. Antonio Tarver sucked as an actor, but he's the most legitimate fighter in this franchise, along with Tommy Morrison. Both of them were champions, but Antonio Tarver is the best boxer in this series. You know what I'm saying, in real life, because he did knock out Roy Jones Jr. I think twice he knocked him out, so he's legit. Just as a character, very forgettable. Saddest moment. What moment almost made you cry?
Possibly the easiest question of the whole lot for me personally. The saddest moment in the Rocky franchise was by far Mickey's death. As soon as they writ off Burgess Meredith's character, it was never the same. No one could capture that magic in sense of being a trainer to Rocky Balboa like he did it. It's just that raw, edgier, old man style that he had and that presence he had about him just couldn't be matched by any other actor. So for me, saddest moment in the franchise, definitely Burgess Meredith as Mickey's death.
Yeah, man, once again, we agree. Mickey. Oh, man, Mickey. No matter how many times I watch 3, whenever Mickey dies, my eyes shrink wrap with tears, and then I'm just bawling. That's why I hate watching with my daughter, because my daughter laughs at me every time when that part comes up and Mickey dies, man. R.I.P. to Mickey, man. God damn. Gotta have a montage. Gotta have a montage. What's the best montage, bro?
So the best Rocky training montage for me, it's a tough one because I like most of them in these films. But if I have to really pick one, which is hard to make me do, I would have to say Rocky 3, simply because Rocky really doubts himself in that movie and that beach scene with Adrian, and it really takes Apollo Creed's management and kind of coaching style to get Rocky back into a different sense of fighting style, not just straight in with the punches, but actually like be more strategical and actually takes him more back to basics and grounded, which I really felt like for the Rocky character. Which I really felt like for the Rocky character himself, really gave that development towards him. And for me, it was probably one of the most believable, and just the chemistry we actually got to saw with him and Apollo Creed. Yeah, Rocky 3 training montage, definitely the best out of the lot.
For me, let me see. 4 is the king of the montages, man. So as far as best montage, I gotta say Rocky 4, Hearts on Fire, Strong Desire. Yeah, Rocky climbed a mountain, y'all. As cartoonish as that is, I don't care. When I used to wrestle, when I used to play football, I always watched the last half of Rocky 4. And every time I saw Hearts on Fire and see Rocky climb that mountain and then bust out, Drago! Yeah, some motivating shit. All right, who wins? The big bad Clubber Lang or the vicious Death from Above Ivan Drago, the Siberian Bull?
Well, it's a tough one because Clubber Lang is a really demeaning force, whereas Ivan Drago's punches, apparently one punch, it kills you like it did Apollo Creed. So, bit of a tough one, and I would love to see that kind of slugger fest between the two. If I really had to pick one, I would say Clubber Lang probably has the advantage over him, just simply because, again, he's the only one who's knocked Rocky out of all of them, and Drago, without the steroids, he's probably pretty hopeless. So yeah, Clubber Lang.
Drago is a killing machine, but we have to remember, Drago was an amateur coming into 4, all right? So like they said, Creed is over the hill, and the Russian hasn't fought anyone. So Drago being an amateur, a rookie, he's wet behind the ears, he don't know what he's doing, and he fought a very old Apollo Creed that was way over the hill. So fighting a prime Clubber Lang who was a killer, just ripped through everybody, including Rocky Balboa. I think if you threw Drago in there with Clubber Lang first, I think Clubber would have mopped the floor with them. But giving Drago some more experience, maybe Drago could have beat Clubber, but right then and there, I think Clubber has his number. So yeah, I give Clubber Lang the win in 2 rounds, knocks out Ivan Drago. But I know what you're gonna say. Well, Rashad did go 15 rounds of Rocky. He had to go 15 rounds of Rocky. It's a Rocky movie. I'm just talking about statistically, all right? Damn it. And plus, I'm being biased because I'm a bigger Clubber Lang fan. Better trainer, Mickey or Apollo?
Okay, so the better trainer out of Mickey and Apollo Creed, it's tough one because Apollo Creed's training style we only kind of see in one movie in Rocky 3 where he trains Rocky and again gets him really back to basics, and for me definitely the best montage scene, which I mentioned before, absolutely. But overall, if you look at it as like a training aspect, we don't get to see much of it of Apollo Creed compared to what we do as Mickey, where he is in most of the films. So for me, definitely Burgess Meredith steals the trainer performance, because if I was to be in a training situation, I would want him to train me because he's this rough, really edgy old man who has his own tactics. But at the end of the day, he has succeeded in getting Rocky to world championships. So for me, yeah, definitely Mickey.
This is also a tough one because Mickey trained Rocky in the first 2 movies, well, 2.5 movies, because he was his trainer in 3. But Mickey's style was more old school, brawling. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't much to it. And Rocky's head was like a punching bag in the first 2 fights with Creed. Whereas in Rocky 3, Apollo taught him to fight more elusive, to be quick on his toes, throw the jabs, you know what I'm saying? I think if Rocky would have adapted that style from the beginning, he would have been unbeatable. He would have been on the level of Apollo Creed, you know what I mean? But Mickey's style was more, it was just more smash mouth, you know what I mean? Which I guess fits Rocky itself, but when you go up against killers like a Clubber Lang or Ivan Drago, that brawling style is not going to work. So I think Apollo is the better trainer because he has a better style. But man, you gotta love Mickey, you know. So yeah, I have to say Apollo is the better trainer. And last but not least, is it the red, white, and blue or the black and yellow?
Both of them really define the Rocky character. We know that the red, white and blue shorts originally belonged to Apollo Creed and he passed them down to Rocky, which is a really touching moment, especially when Apollo Creed died. Rocky had that to really kind of present himself with. However, in this new one, Rocky Balboa, he doesn't have those shorts anymore, because I do remember he gave them originally to Tommy Gunn, and I guess I kind of just decided to just not acknowledge that fact in the new one. But for me, I guess if you're going to really define the Rocky character himself, you're always going to kind of remember the black and gold shorts, simply because for me, red, white and blue always represents Apollo Creed and that character that he brought to that American kind of side of those shorts represented. So yeah, black and gold is the final answer for the Q&A. And Rashad, thank you so much for having me onto the channel, man. I really honestly appreciate it, and I've loved checking out the series. And just, yeah, thank you so much for your time, my man, and can't wait for future collabs with yourself. Thanks, Rashad.
Yeah, the black and yellow was classic Rocky 2, you know what I'm saying? But you think of that red, white, and blue, you think of Rocky knocking out Clubber, knocking out Drago, and plus, you know, Apollo passed him down to him. So yeah, I have to go with the red, white, and blue, you know, and even Creed, you know, baby Creed, you know, took those trunks in. So they're like almost like the mascot of this series, those red, white, and blue trunks, man. So I got to go with the red, white, and blue. And there you have it. Mike, thanks once again for joining me in this series. This has been a blast. And looking forward to the next series. Just got to figure out what it is. All right. So, y'all, what did y'all think about the Rocky franchise? Comment below what you have to those questions I just asked. And if you like and dig this content, hit that like and subscribe notification bell in the corner. This is Rashad G signing out. See you in the next video.